Hello, everyone. Welcome. We are excited that you are here to join us for the TMB webinar on Copilot. I wanted to give a quick thank you to the webinar subcommittee who puts together these opportunities for you to learn. So thank you to that committee. My name is Jennifer Baker. I am a national training team lead with DHI Mortgage, and I have the honor of serving as a co-chair on the Education and Endowment Committee for TMBA. Today, I have the privilege of introducing your speaker. She happens to also be a co-chair for the Education and Endowment Committee for TMBA and a very dynamic leader in the mortgage training space. Elizabeth Miller is AVP and National Training Assistant Manager with DHI and has over 10 years of fostering impactful and innovative learning and development for teammates organization-wide. Technology advancements are a passion for Elizabeth, and that makes her a great resource for your presentation today in utilizing Copilot. Please join me in welcoming Elizabeth Miller. Thank you for being here, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much, Jen, for that gracious introduction. Hi, everyone. We are still having people join the call. We are up to over 75 attendees. We had over 200 register, which is a record breaker. So this must be a hot topic. I am going to encourage you to, number one, participate in the chat window. I'm going to have several opportunities where I want you to respond in the chat window. So make sure you have access to that and can type in the chat window. This is also a hands-on learning experience. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. That is why this is called Hands-On with Microsoft Copilot. I'm going to be inviting you to actually open, maybe on another monitor, an application and your access to Copilot so that you can practice. If you don't currently have access to Copilot, I'll be demoing and covering several topics that will still be helpful to you if you know that Copilot is coming to a laptop near you. So this is a guided practice session. There's also going to be an opportunity where I'm going to attach a practice file into the chat window for you to download it and work on it from there. So just setting your expectations for what's to come. And without further ado, we are going to get started. Okay, just a little bit about the agenda. Here's what we're going to practice today. I'm going to cover some best practices, do a demo where appropriate, and then you're going to get to try your hand at doing Copilot. And what we found is sometimes just that first experience takes away the mystery, takes away the hesitation, takes away any fear you might have of utilizing AI in your daily work. And just taking that first step encourages you to hit the ground running and keep going with it. So today is about those first steps. The experience that you gain from the practice today, you're just going to grow on that and keep moving forward afterwards. But we are going to touch on 5 key areas of daily work. Just knowing some of your faces on the call, I know you're working in Outlook every day. You might be utilizing Microsoft Word or Excel. If you have to share vision for anyone in a visual way, whether it's a training or a presentation or simply an executive proposal, you might be working in PowerPoint as well. And we know that we all get on Teams at some point, even if that's not your primary source of meetings at your organization. We're on a Teams call right now, so it's helpful to look at how Copilot works with Teams as well. So those are the 5 areas we're going to touch on. And just a quick little preview, we're going to talk about inbox triage and how you can leverage Copilot to do some summaries and also maybe even help you with drafting borrower follow-ups. We're going to look at Microsoft Word and drafting documents from scratch, but also leveraging Copilot to edit for you and even come up with different approaches to language and tone and who your audience is, being able to customize that on the fly. Then getting into Excel. Some of you may know I used to teach Excel at University of Texas, and I've realized you don't need me anymore. You don't need someone to teach you Excel anymore because you now have Copilot as your personal assistant / Excel coach, and you can not have a deep understanding of Excel and make your Excel work look like you're a pro leveraging Copilot. Then we're going to look at Teams and recapping meetings and taking notes and tracking decisions and action items and that sort of thing. And last but not least, leveraging the creativity of Copilot and some of the built-in skill sets to create visual PowerPoints for any content you want. So before we get into our content, I do want to just get your brains warmed up. I want you to put in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being I haven't even used Copilot yet. I'd like to, but I've just been too busy. I haven't even clicked on that colorful icon yet. Just haven't exposed myself to it. And 10 being, I use it every day. I've found productivity and efficient gains. What's your number? Between 1 and 10. Ooh, I saw someone with a 10. Let me scroll up. Who's that? Stephen, if you're a 10, I'm going to encourage you to chime in, add some of your experience, put things in the chat window. We want to make sure that we hear from you as well on this training. Really, if you're, over a 5, we could probably learn from you. I'm just your guided facilitator today. If you are a 1, do not despair. This is your chance to catch up with the rest of us after today's hour. Let me see if I see any other 10s. Ooh, Brandy's an 8. I like to see some of these higher numbers. Good mix in our group today. If you are advanced, there might be some of this material that's a refresher to you. We're not going to have time, and there's only so much we can cover in an hour. But if you are a high number, keep in mind that we might be coming up with some more advanced topics in the future, whether it's how to build a Copilot agent or doing a deep dive into any one of these applications to really dig deep. So keep that in mind for the future. But if you're a high number, we're going to rely on you to chime in as well today. Okay, y'all. Oh, Stephen shared, I use it every day for writing Excel formulas, VBA code. Oh yeah, macros, conditional formatting, pivot tables, complex formulas. Don't do any of that yourself. Let Copilot do it for you. It's awesome. Ooh, Power Automate. Nice. Okay, make a note for Stephen to be involved in our next class. I love it. Okay, we're going to start with Outlook. So I'm asking each of you to have your Outlook open on another monitor. We're not going to share screen on our Outlook. We don't need to see each other's inbox, but I am going to talk a little bit about what you can do. And this is just the tip of the iceberg today. And before you start trying some of these prompts, I just want to summarize to give you an overall picture. If you're not leveraging Copilot, things that you can do. Let's say you're walking in to your office or sitting down at your remote desk first thing Monday morning, and you want someone, your personal assistant, to just summarize your emails for you in some way. Well, now you can. Maybe your organization doesn't provide you with a personal assistant. Well, now you do. You have Copilot as your personal assistant. You can summarize emails based on an entire thread, or it can be everything from a particular sender, or it can be based on project, subject line, and anything related to a certain project or a topic. And then you can put a date range around it. Summarize what's going on with this project. And I'd like to see a summary of the last 2 weeks. Then you can narrow it down even further and say, do that summary, and then give me some bullet points of any action items that may or may not have been completed so I can follow up on those. This is a way to triage your inbox and plan your day, plan your week. Any other thoughts, ideas on triaging your inbox? I want you guys to put prompts that you've used successfully in the chat. Share with the group, because we want to know what works and what works well. But these are some that I have used. You can also take a look at what's going on. Let's say you have some borrower communication. I know, like processing best practices, I used to have like a folder for every loan and keep my communication there with that regarding that loan in that particular folder. And that way, Copilot can kind of highlight action items. Are there any action items from that loan that I have yet to respond to, or that I have not received an email back on that I might need to follow up on? Christy shares, clear out all emails from subscribe or unsubscribe lists so the junk mail gets removed. Oh my gosh, that's an amazing one. I have heard of that one being effective. I love that. Great share, Christy. You can also identify top priorities, whether it's letting Copilot know who are my VIPs, who are my executive team members that I haven't responded to yet, or it's unread emails requiring attention today or at least this week. Because what happens is we get thousands of emails. Sometimes people get thousands of emails a day. And so an important email can get lost in that shuffle, and it can be way down on page 3 or 4. And if you don't remember to scroll down and see that unread message, it can fall between the cracks, and then the week goes by and it wasn't top of mind. So ask Copilot to check for any unread emails or any read emails that I have not responded to that seem to have action items, and it can find those emails that you may have missed through human error that are further down on the list. Sarah shares, at annual review time, you can ask it to review my emails, team chats, Teams meetings from the last 3 months to summarize accomplishments. That is fabulous. I have utilized that for annual reviews, or if you even for a one-on-one that's coming up, can you build key action items for this teammate and summarize them since the last one-on-one? It can build rules. Assign a rule. It can do that for you. Marina, yes, this is done in Outlook, and you do need to have the Copilot that is embedded in your Outlook to leverage some of these functionalities. You can do things like, I'm going to jump down to that last bullet there. Hey, when's the next time I need to meet with? And then put the person's name in. It can scan your calendar and find the next time you're meeting with them, or it can even schedule a new meeting, and please draft an agenda based on the last meeting we had. What are some outstanding items? So if you're transcribing your meetings or recording them, either way, then Copilot has access to what went on in the last meeting and can draft an agenda for the next meeting and schedule it for you. Cindy asks, how do we get it embedded in our Outlook? I don't have it. You would need to reach out to your organization, possibly your IT team, to find out what your organization has access to. Joanna shares, have it review all emails, meetings, and chats from the day before and create private tasks for yourself. Yeah, it can create a task checklist based on what was going on yesterday. So warning though, if you're not recording meetings and you're not doing recap notes in your meetings, and your particular Copilot can't see certain things, know that there can be limitations. It can only be as good as the data it can see. So keep that in mind. If you don't know, get with your IT department. Hey, I've got a Copilot icon here. What can it see? What can it engage in? And make sure you have answers to those questions so you know how much you can leverage it. Okay, that second to last bullet. Oh, wait, before I do that, there's another question here. What is the best way to prompt what you want it to do to return most accurate data, especially around Outlook and email? I'm actually going to touch on some prompt best practices in a little bit. So we're going to talk about that, but make sure to put a pin in that. If I don't answer your question thoroughly, or if you have additional follow-up questions, go ahead and ask at that time. Thank you for that question, Brandy. Fourth bullet, check for clarity, tone, readability, motivation, anything you think of before you hit send. I used to teach communication classes. Well, I still do, but one of the key things I used to say in all of those communication classes is make sure you reread your email before you hit send. Because 100% of the time, when I reread my draft of an email, I always find something I should edit. Like, ooh, I didn't realize that word choice made that sound harsher than I meant. I need to pick a different word there. Or I need to reread this because I forgot to put a greeting on the front end. I didn't say, hey, good morning. Hope this email finds you doing well this week. Here's what I'm following up for. I forgot to put any pleasantries in it. Forgot to have a nice close that leaves the conversation open. So I used to teach, read it yourself. I'm changing all that now. Have Copilot read it for you and have it check for tone, word choice, making sure that it's readable to a fifth grader. And that's typically standard for emails that are going out to anyone. You don't want a dollar word when a 10-cent word will do. And is it motivating? Is there some sort of action item? You're trying to get the other person to do something. Is it motivating enough? Is the deadline displayed and is it emphasized? Are you sharing the why? Is it motivating to that person? And Copilot will give you, here's some suggestions to edit this email to meet your objective more. So we'll touch on that a little bit, Brandy, in what are key prompts that you would want to ask it, because you don't want it to just say, hey, check my email. You want to tell it how you want to check it. So we'll touch on that, on the best way to prompt to get that return for your effort. But what I want you to try, if you have access to Copilot today from Outlook, just click on that Copilot icon and it's going to open the Copilot chat to the right of your Outlook. So you'll see your Outlook inbox on the left, and then you'll see your Copilot chat on the right. Try this prompt. Just say, draft a professional reply to the latest email from, and fill in a name. We don't have to share with this group, but I want you to try out that simple prompt and see what it comes up with. So while you guys are doing that in the background, I am going to return to Brandy's question. So while you're all seeing what that does, I'm going to ask you to see what your responses are. Brandy also asks, do you have to be in the new Outlook to see the Copilot icon within email? No, because I actually have Outlook Classic on mine. So Copilot, if you don't see it, it might be that your organization does not allow you to utilize Copilot within your Outlook. What you could do as a workaround is you can just copy and paste your draft of an email, as long as there's no NPPI in it, you could just go to any Copilot chat that you have access to and paste your draft in, and then use this same prompt with that pasted text to give you some feedback. You could put in, here's the latest email from so-and-so, draft a reply. You can do that sort of thing. But if you don't have access, then you're going to have to rely on providing Copilot with that text for it to help you. But we're going to return to Brandy's question. I want everyone to take note of these 4 letters. I'm going to put them in the chat. These are best practices for prompts. It's called the GCSE formula, GCSE. And that means your prompt is ideal if you include your goal. The G stands for goal. What's your objective? I'm trying to be persuasive in this email to get the recipient to do something, whether it's I'm trying to get them to gather docs by a certain date and submit them to me, or it's I want them to provide an update on this particular loan file by tomorrow. Whatever your objective is, tell Copilot what your objective is. What's the context? Now, Copilot hasn't learned you yet. If you haven't used it a lot, it doesn't know you. So you might want to share within the context of a loan originator engaging with a borrower via email. That's your context. Like whatever your context is, explain to Copilot what that is so it knows from what perspective to help you with that verbiage. Now, I've used Copilot a lot. My Copilot knows me now. It's learned me. It knows I'm in a national training department, that I'm a manager. It knows my team. It knows who my audience is. It knows that I work for a lender that is a lending arm of a builder. So it understands my context. So I don't have to go into as much detail anymore because it knows my context, but it helps to specify what that context is. So G for goal, C for context, and then S stands for source. What source do you want Copilot to use? Now, if it's just drafting verbiage, not a specific source. But if you're asking it a question and you want it to use a specific source, I want this email drafted using Microsoft standard educational format. Utilize that as my source of truth, my source of what is good and what is bad. If you're asking it a question, C was context. G for goal, C for context. S is source. Let's say you're asking it a guideline question about a particular loan type. You might want to say, utilize the Fannie Mae guidelines, most recent version, and tell me the page number and give me a link to the source when you answer my question. So specify the source. And then expectations. What do you want it to spit out? Do you just want an answer, or do you want it to create a draft? Or do you want it to create a Word doc for you? What are you expecting Copilot to create for you? Thank you, Antoinette. Appreciate the summary. GCSE. And I'm also going to put the whole tip in the chat. With a little example. So let me just check in with Brandy. Did that answer your question on best practices for prompts? Hopefully that did. We also have a question from Caitlin. If we are asking Copilot to look through groups of emails from borrowers or emails about loan files, how can we be sure that it won't come into contact with information it shouldn't have? Good question, Caitlin. It really depends on your IT and the security protocols that they have in place. For example, your IT department might say, hey, your Copilot can see everything that's on your SharePoint in your Teams groups, but it can't see everything that's in your LOS. It cannot see everything that's on, this company resource page. It can't see things that are on your C drive or your secure drives. That would be an example. And every organization can be different. So you're going to want to know what your security protocols are, what Copilot can and cannot see. And just some advice would be, if Copilot can see a certain area, then you're going to want to make sure that there isn't secure information in that area if your Copilot is not secure. If it can go out to the web or it can share information, but your own organization and your own IT security teams should be able to tell you what those security guidelines are. For example, if you have your own instance of Copilot and there's no way that it gets out to the web, then you have more safety in allowing it to look at certain things. But I can't tell you definitively what that looks like because each organization can be different. Okay. And Cindy, do I have a slide for that in relation to GCSE? I don't. I just wanted to put that tip in the chat. But I do not have a security slide because I'm not a security professional. I'm not certified. I would really just refer you to your own IT department for guidance on that. But I wanted to give you just some examples to answer your question there. Okay, what questions do you have in regards to Outlook? Remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I wanted you to have an opportunity to just try out what Copilot can do in Outlook, and then start thinking about, how could I use this tomorrow? How can I use it this month? And the key is saving you time, finding an extra hour in your day, getting through that inbox triage more quickly, and then making you more effective as a professional who isn't going to miss things. Can it draft emails without the prompts if I create an agent that does this daily? Yes, ma'am. You're getting advanced on us, Katie. We're not going to cover creating agents, but yes, if you have to draft a similar type email based on data that Copilot can see, and you need it to do that daily and send that email daily, yes, you can create an agent that does that for you. That'll be covered in an advanced class one of these days. Okay, y'all, we're going to move on from Outlook because we've only got a little bit of time left. Word. Okay, everyone, open up Microsoft Word. Get Microsoft Word open. And I'm actually going to open my Microsoft Word for you and try this prompt with you. But just to introduce this topic while you're opening Microsoft Word, on average, industry average, we spend about 13.5 hours of document handling per loan. Some of these word exercises are where you practice on trimming that number down. So if you could spend even 12.5 hours per loan, I mean, that could be huge. I mean, gaining hours in your month, your week, your day is crucial to being able to grow as a professional, handle a larger pipeline than you did last year. This is where Copilot isn't there to take your job, it's to make you better at your job and be able to handle more. Hey, Christy, this is recorded. So if anyone has to miss this, the entire thing's going to be recorded and posted, so you can go and look at whatever you miss, or you can forward a link to that to someone who you think might find it helpful. Liz asks, where can I find templates or videos that have topics to explore and instructions on how to set things up? Copilot within our org's Copilot version, or just the general Outlook Copilot examples of prompts. Liz, it is such a great question. So you're going to laugh when I answer your question. You go to Copilot to get it to answer questions about Copilot. Copilot is your Copilot coach. So if you have any access to Copilot at all, you can just go ask Copilot. When I wasn't sure what my Copilot could see, I would ask Copilot, hey, can you see this file? And it would tell me yes or no. Here's the path to where this file is. Can you see it? No, I do not have access to that. Or yes, I can see that. It helps me understand what Copilot could see. I could also say, Copilot, where can I find training materials on how to do this in Copilot? And it would give me, here's some internal resources, but here's some external links to trainings you can get. Yeah, ask Copilot. Or here's kind of what I'm trying to do, Copilot. What can you do? And it'll say, here's 5 options that you could choose from. Do any of these sound right? And then you can drill down with the how-tos on each of those. Let Copilot be your teacher. Okay, so you've got Microsoft Word open. If you've got some bullet points already set up, it can turn a few bullet points into a draft. My mantra here, because I do a lot of writing on a training team, is you can get to first draft with Copilot lightning fast. And oftentimes getting to first draft is the grease that helps that process, because then you're like, oh, I can edit from here. I can see what I like, what I don't like, but at least getting to first draft is that forward momentum to get you further along in whatever project you're on very quickly. You can also get to the draft and then ask Copilot to polish for a final copy. I love that, Jill. It helps to spark your own creativity. I love that. Donna shares, I wasn't sure if that's Donna or Donna, so apologies if I'm not pronouncing that right. Always ask it to source the material it creates with links. Remind it to not write anything that it can't verify. Yes. What is your source? What made you say that these are the top 5 reasons? Copilot came up with this 13.5 hours stat, and I'm like, I don't want to trust that. Where did you get that stat? Where is it coming from? And it did tell me where it got that information from. So then I felt comfortable using that in my presentation. But whether it's sparking creativity or sourcing facts and information, don't trust immediately. And in our organization, the phrase is always trust but verify. Verify before you utilize anything, because Copilot is known for sounding extremely confident even when it might be wrong or it might be leaning on outdated information. So it can sound confident. Don't take that as it's accurate. So definitely source everything. Let's say you've got some dense policy or procedure or legislative documents, or maybe you're wanting to teach a new hire about TRID. You can have Copilot source a page of text and say, can you summarize this in plain language? It's fabulous. It now, oh my gosh, now that makes sense. I can understand this now. It's not in legal speak. It's translated it into plain language. You can also standardize tone across your whole team by creating reusable prompts. Hey, this prompt worked well for me. Hey, everyone on my team, whenever you're doing this type of email, I recommend this prompt. It worked well. And that way everyone ends up with similar output and you've got similar content and tone across the whole team. You can also keep any draft that you have Copilot make grounded in documents you already have. So, hey, Copilot, I'm going to upload a document that I was really happy with from last month, and I need you to create something new, but make it similar to the one I just gave you. I like the format, I liked the tone, I like all of that, but now new topic, but make it align with this other document. And that way you have that alignment across multiple documents over time. And you're not having to reinvent the wheel of prompts every time. It's a way of not quite creating an agent, but being able to skip some steps. So now what I want you to do, I'm going to actually paste this prompt into the chat because I want you guys to see what it can do. Okay, there's a prompt in the chat, and then we all have Microsoft Word open. Mine's opening right now. And pull this over. Blank document, Microsoft Word. The prompt is draft a plain language explanation of the new FICO 10T and VantageScore 4.0 scores and how a lender might implement them. Because we get emails all day on this topic. There are webinars all day long on this topic, but I want a plain language explanation. So I'm in Microsoft Word. Bottom right, there's my colorful Copilot icon. Clicking on it, it opens up my Microsoft Word Copilot chat over to the right. Want to point out on the top, in my organization, I have this green shield letting me know that I'm in a secure area. So whatever I work with here stays within my organization. I can also start a new chat at the top. If I've been chatting all day long, I can just start a new chat, kind of a fresh slate. You can also click the three dots, and I can specify that I want to just be automatic, or I can lean on Claude, or I can lean on Chat GPT, depending on what AI you tend to prefer. Claude tends to do really well with creative things, creating images and branding and things like that. Chat GPT can do quick response or think deeper, kind of be a researcher for you. I'm going to leave it on auto for now. But there's also additional settings depending on your particular Copilot setup. I'm going to allow editing. There's a drop down here. I want Copilot to actually edit this blank document for me. But you can choose to just engage with Copilot, but not let it edit your document. I want you to just tell me what you would do, and then I'm going to make the edits myself. Like if you have trust issues with Copilot, you might not want to allow editing, but I've got a blank document, so I'm going to allow editing. There's that prompt that I put in the chat, and I'm going to hit the send button. And it tells you what it's doing while it's doing it. And it might be a good time to go grab some coffee or work on something else. Yes, Antoinette, you have trust issues with AI. It happens. But it's drafting. And it's pulling from various sources on the internet and things that have been published. To be even better, I could have said, and rely solely on documentation that was published by the Fair Isaac Corporation or the VantageScore company. That way I can narrow down and control my source. We're just doing this as an example. So I didn't specify too much. I just wanted to see what's out there. I also know that there's a ton of published documents that are already out there. And I really wanted to focus on it translating to plain language that is understandable. Still drafting. Let me scroll down. Still working. Yes, Sherry, you can say based on a specific date, only data that was published in the last month. So you get the latest published information. Great ad there. Okay. So you can scroll through and see what it did. And then it also tells you, here's what I can do next if you want it to do something else. I do advise people kind of do one thing at a time. First, I want this plain language explanation. Now I want it to streamline, make it more brief. Next, I want to turn it more into a handout with some graphics. So do one thing at a time so that you control the process from start to finish. But it does let you know what it can do next. And you can give it thumbs up, thumbs down, or you can say, wait a second, that's not what I wanted. Try again. But think of this as if you had an intern and you just wanted them to do some research and come up with the first draft, they would likely go do their work, bring it back to you for feedback, and then you're going to do additional edits. This is what you're doing. You're going back and forth with Copilot, but getting closer and closer each iteration to what it is that you need. And you saw how quickly it did that. Caitlin asks, if two people are using the same AI, Claude, ChatGPT, with the same access and give it the exact same prompt, could we expect the same answer? Caitlin, the answer is no. It depends. Very rarely will you get the exact same response because my Copilot is learning from me, and I've been using my Copilot for the last couple months, and it knows the type of content I prefer. It knows the type of edits I tend to make. It knows I'm in training, so it tends to go in depth, and it formats my stuff to training. Notice the first thing it suggests to me of what it can do next is create a training handout from the draft. I bet if you're not in training, that might not be the first option it gives you, but it knows that I'm in training, so it focuses on those needs. So each individual could have a different prompt. Also, if you do, and this might be a good exercise, try this same prompt next week and see if you get something different, because what's published out there changes by the minute. And it may not be the same. The way to get consistency and to get the same thing come back every time is to build an agent that has very, very strict parameters, has very strict sources, and very strict, here's how you output. That's where you get consistency every time, is you build an agent to do that. When we're just using kind of, not open AI, but a little bit more than an agent AI, we're just pinging sources right now with not a super strict prompt. If I ask this tomorrow, it may look different. And if another person, I could probably ask you, answer my question, does yours look exactly like mine? If you just practice this prompt, does yours look exactly like mine? Caitlin, great ad there. It immediately offered to create a compliance memo, which is very different than me creating a training handout. So each of you will have something that looks different, even with the same prompt. Yeah, and Jen, she's in my same department. Hers is similar, but not the same. Now, I don't want you don't have to save this, but keep it open because we might utilize this later to dig in a little bit. But now you have all can say you have used Copilot within, whoops, escape. Here we go. I just want to move you. Trying to use Copilot and all of these applications and be on Teams and sharing is making it just a little slow for me. Keep that somewhere on another monitor. We may use it. But now all of you can say you have leveraged Copilot within Microsoft Word. What is something that surprised you about that process? Anything? Go ahead and type in the chat window. Anything surprising? Any aha moments? This was your first time using it? Okay. In the interest of time, we're going to move on. Okay, spreadsheet time. Oh, look, I didn't know you could change the model it's using. Yep, that's a great ad. First time in Word, but I like it. I like it too. More interesting than surprising how different everyone's is. Yeah, things to learn. I am going to give you all, because we're going to work in Excel, I want to give you all a practice spreadsheet. See if it will let me do that. Corey, it's not letting me drag anything, and I don't have the paperclip icon to add anything. So if you could add that Excel sample worksheet.
Sure.
This is for someone, you know, when you're playing with Copilot, you may not want to play in one of your production Excel spreadsheets and then accidentally mess up your actual work. So I wanted to provide you just a sample worksheet to play in.
Well, Liz, I'm having, it's not accepting my drop. Let me continue to work on it.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. The other option we could maybe do is maybe email everyone who registered possibly. But we'll move on and I'll at least demo it so you can see some of the things that you can do. You can take really any spreadsheet in Excel and leverage Copilot in some really amazing ways. And I'm admitting, as someone who teaches Excel, that you may not need me anymore as a teacher for Excel because you got Copilot. So here is our sample spreadsheet. It's all fake information, not real. It's not even pipeline. It's just, you know, some imaginary sales data. But imagine this was your pipeline report or something like that. Bottom right is the colorful icon to open up Copilot that is embedded in Excel. It does want auto save to be turned on if you're going to allow it to edit so it can save as it goes. So I am going to allow editing and allow the auto save to be turned on. And I just want to show you very quickly how your plain language can do some really cool things. So either you have my either a sample or you could even pull up a spreadsheet and copy it so you're not editing the original. I am going to paste in just some sample practice prompts that you could do with any spreadsheet into the chat. Just a whole bunch of them. And these are in the PowerPoint as well in the notes. And we can share the PowerPoint with you all afterwards. So if I just type in here, bold and center align the first row. Go. I don't even have to know what menu that's in. I don't have to know where it is. I don't even know how, I don't have to be able to do it. Just to have it do it. Oh, it's a protected file. Shouldn't be protected. Shouldn't be protected. Hold on. Of course, when I'm demoing live is when it decides to, maybe it's where I saved it. Let me try opening it. I'm going to pause sharing for just a moment. and see if it will work for me. Yeah, apologies. It's acting like it's a protected file. Could be that the policy changed from yesterday to today. I'm going to format the cells and just make sure no, the cells aren't protected. It's not letting me do it. Okay, guys, apologies for this demo not working out. I picked allow editing, which was Katie's. Let me just type allow editing in the prompt. Good tip. No, it's still giving me that demo issue. Caitlin shares, I do have an interesting thing to note with Excel. I asked Copilot to take a 5% sample from a data set, and I instructed it to round up. However, during the next data set in the same sheet, it decided to round down without asking. It was able to tell me why it made the decision when I asked and offered to fix it, but I had to notice it myself. It is an XLSX, so I'm wondering, I'm going to maybe try and save a copy in another location and see if that solves the issue, but I don't want to waste your all's time. Before I move on, I'm going to just call it sample worksheet 2. I promise I did demo this. And practiced. Okay, let's see if it. Nope, still getting that same. I'm going to have to reach out to our IT and find out what changed. But you do have some examples in the chat of some of the things that it can do in Excel. I'll share my screen again. You can have it summarize, find insights. One of the prompts that I really enjoy is just asking Copilot to review the spreadsheet and share any insights and see what it comes up with, and then dig deeper into those insights. A prompt, if you do have a spreadsheet that has pretty deep data on it, the prompt that's here that I want you all to try is create a polished sales dashboard with KPIs, charts, slicers, and key insights. I did want to demo that for you, so apologies that I couldn't. I might do a quick demo video and then have Corey share that with y'all afterwards. But I am going to put this prompt in the chat so you can steal it. And what it does is it creates a second tab that is a sales dashboard, and it puts multiple tables, charts, slicers, which are on the fly sorts and filters that you can put at the top, and key insights. And it does all of that. But yes, I will do that video for you because I actually have done it multiple times this week to practice that demo, but I think somehow something changed within our policies. So wherever I have that saved is not letting me demo it for you at the moment. Identify trends and visualize with tables and charts, things that you wouldn't necessarily catch. The human eye can't see trends and information. If you've got, thousands of rows of data, it can look at that data and say, here's some interesting things. Let me create a chart that displays that and visualizes that. You almost have to know what the trends are to know what type of chart to create. So it's hard from a human brain to come up with that stuff. One of the other key tips is every time you're in Excel, ask Copilot to teach you something new. Teach me something I haven't done before. And now you've just created your own Excel coach through Copilot. I love that for anyone wanting to up their game, but you do not need to know how to do conditional formatting. Conditional formatting is probably one of the more tricky things to do. For example, I want you to highlight any loan items where the sales price is above a certain dollar amount. Make those green. Well, who has time to set up the conditional formatting? If you don't do it every day, that's going to take you a while to do. Just ask Copilot to do it for you, and it is like within seconds. It does it. Whether it's conditional formatting, more complex formulas where you would have done it in like 4 or 5 columns, trying to do all the calculations, you can tell it what you want it to do. It will create a complex formula and do it in one shot, in one column, which is nice. And because you still want to check all the work, don't just let Copilot be your editor and then you send that report out. Don't do it, because that's when Copilot will make a mistake. It's still on you to check the work. Trace back all the formulas to the source cells, make sure that it's doing what you expect it to do, and check your results before you say, okay, save, I'm going to use this and move forward with it. But yeah, here are some great prompts for that. And we are getting really short on time, so I'm going to actually skip Teams because I want to get to PowerPoint as a final thing to leave you with. But I will say, when you're in Teams, utilize recording and transcribing your meetings so that you can leverage meeting recaps. And then you can also ask about past instant messages and chats. You can say, hey, based on the between meetings and chats, what were our final agreed upon next steps? What did we agree upon? Ask certain questions. Or, hey, what has been the sentiment regarding this topic from our team over the last month? You can ask questions like that and see what it comes up with. Sugra says, I use Copilot to complete a review of my LAR data against export data from the LOS to identify discrepancies and create a workbook to plan to complete to reconcile it. Yes. Oh, you don't have to do VLOOKUPs and match and compare in your own brain anymore. Have Copilot do that for you. I've got these 2 spreadsheets. How do they differ? They both have employee ID on it, or they both have loan number on it. How do we reconcile? Copilot all day doing stuff like that. Brandy says, if within Teams you can record but not transcribe, can you use the same prompts in Copilot? You do need to be able to transcribe for Copilot to know what happened within this meeting. It can't. The other option would be to make sure that your recorded video is transcribed so that Copilot has access to that. You do need to transcribe to access Copilot. Okay, we're going to jump into PowerPoint. I want you to try this prompt at the bottom. I want you to open PowerPoint. Oops. And I want you to just try this prompt because I want to see, for those that have access to Copilot within PowerPoint, I want you to see this. The prompt is, build a 5-slide training deck introducing the features and impact of the new Uniform Appraisal Dataset, or UAD 3.6. You know this is a hot topic right now. I just put that in the chat. And if you open up PowerPoint, blank presentation. I'm going to move this over so you can see it. Bottom right is your Copilot icon. Here's where you would put that prompt. For those that have to drop, I do have some follow-up things, so be looking at either in your email or for TMBA to post some things. Thanks for joining. But put that prompt here. I did this yesterday, and you guys, I made 0 edits, and I just want to show you what Copilot created for me. And I bet yours will look a little different because it knows what I like. Look at this, how slick this looks. UAD 3.6 and the redesigned URAR. And why is this changing? It's got some great visuals. It looks clean. It then goes into what's actually new, 4 key things that are new. Then it goes into rollout timeline. And then it goes into what it means for the people you serve. I asked this to create this for the perspective of a loan originator. So it talks about for your borrowers, for your team, for you. Now you can edit from here and say, can you create my speaker script? What are the details I should be saying about each of these items? Or, but again, this is your first draft. This is the speed at which you can get to first draft and start pulling in the subject matter experts to edit from here. It is such a huge lift in productivity. So I hope this session, your investment in an hour, has encouraged you to take that first step. Try, play with Copilot, see what it can do for you. Reach out to your IT groups, find out what your security parameters are, see what you can do, and gain some time. I will end with this. Start small. Save just an hour a day. Just pick 2 things I taught you today and try and work on those over the next 2 weeks. Also think about, before you ask a person to do something for you, think, could Copilot do this? And of course, always verify, but measure those minutes and then get back to us on the next Copilot training that we do. What did you gain? How much productivity did you increase because of Copilot? Thanks, y'all.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. We appreciate your time and you sharing your knowledge. A couple quick notes from Texas MBA. They are continuing to work on bringing you great webinars like this one. So please check out their homepage, texasmba.org, and they will provide the upcoming schedule. Also, keep an eye out for those emails from Texas MBA. They'll teach you how to register for the next one. Coming up in November, on November 16th, they will be back at the LBJ Library for the 2026 Texas MBA Housing Summit. So be on the lookout for information as it develops. Thanks again, everybody. Have a wonderful day. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.